You want to get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky!
What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim?
And I had some Thai food from yesterday.
Hawaiian rolls, like King's Hawaiian?
Yep, King's Hawaiian. 2 of those,
yeah, that's some delicious shit.
Yeah.
You ever go to the King's Hawaiian factory?
No, but I've seen it off the freeway.
So you know about it?
Yeah.
Down in Torrance.
Yeah, by the 405.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
It's supposed to be really good. It's supposed to be like Hawaiian food or some shit.
Yeah, but like in the it's kind of like the IKEA thing where there's like a restaurant of the cuisine in there, or like no.
No, I think it's just a straight up restaurant.
The whole thing? The
whole
factory?
Yeah. It's like
You
there's
just
no. I don't think it's the
conveyor belt
factory
kind of thing.
I don't think it's the factory. You know what I mean? I think it's just like a
franchise.
Yeah, but I don't think there's more than there aren't any others that I know of.
I've never seen a King's Hawaiian roll buffet.
Well, the weird thing is there's the
if they just served rolls, that'd be awful.
Yeah, you just have to eat rolls there. They're not even warm. They just rip rolls off with their hands and hand them to you. And you're like, okay.
It's a lot of bread.
This is okay.
I don't know if I should be here.
There's supposed to be actually quite a Hawaiian contingent in Torrance. Like
I bet. I bet there's a huge
like a weird, it's very specific though. You got to admit, you know what I'm saying? Like it's Hawaiians, because there are Asians, but Hawaiians are very.
No, but LA has all different kinds of those ethnic groups. Like there's like the biggest Cambodian population, like the biggest Vietnamese population. Like all these places in the rest of the world, everybody just moves all their people here and creates colonies.
Right. Well, LA is great for that.
Right.
Well, New York, you're gonna have to like assimilate, right? You gotta have to
exactly.
Yeah.
But there used to be different neighborhoods in New York. I remember 20 years ago, I used to go down and visit my cousins. And there would definitely be like Hasidic Jew districts. You knew where the Spanish people, and like that was it. You know, like all the Puerto Ricans were divided up. All the people in the different islands. There was neighborhoods. Like Brooklyn was all Jamaicans. Like there was no fucking distinction.
Now it's over.
Now it's just everybody's mixed and it's fine. There's
I think it's geography. It's like there's enough room here for everybody to stay segregated.
Yeah.
Like LA is a very segregated place.
It's numerical.
Like,
you can just tell. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, you could just drive. It will be miles till you see one of them. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, that was so crazy. At one point when I first moved here, I'd be south of the 10. I'd be the only lightest person there.
Yeah.
And like
now, south of the 10 is definitely
south of the 10 was just all people of color, and I wouldn't see a white person for days.
Oh yeah. I grew up here. Well, so first of all, Brinan Weeks joining me today on the Rojan Kim cast.
Yeah.
Brinan Weeks, fellow comedian, he's an educator as well. Guys, I'm here. Is there a specific kind of like Montessori or something?
This is a humanistic school.
Humanistic. He's a humanistic educator. I'm here with him on his back patio. This is fucking awesome, actually. Yeah. This is amazing. Like this is one of the things where I'm like, LA, I understand why people love LA. You know what I'm saying? Like
there's little private.
You can't do this in New York. Are you kidding me? Unless you were like a billionaire. Like a billionaire could do this.
Yeah, exactly. If there was room,
Yeah, I mean, for this much space, and there's even like this, like you know what I mean? Like it's such a premium in other places, but here you just make it happen, and it's in the middle of the city. It's not even like you're out in the there's enough.
15 minutes away from everything.
Yes, it truly is a dream factory. It truly is a place where, anything can happen. Anyways, we're here talking about New York because you're from New York.
Oh, yeah. Upstate New York, though.
Upstate New York. We'll call it New York. It's all right. Not New York City. You're not New York.
Okay,
not
so
New York.
let me clarify. Let me clarify because I haven't been able to put this into a bit, but just explaining where I come from, like thinking about upstate New York as a region, right? Separate from New York City.
Sure.
Is okay.
Of course.
But when you get up there, it's like the South.
Right.
It's the South.
Yes.
Like no matter what, it's rural, it's country, it's redneck, and then there's private pockets of yuppies. Or like hippies, and like you have different places, and there's a lot of history. Like a lot of long-term like movements have been there, and have set up shop.
What do you mean, like white power movements, or what kind of? Like,
it could be but more like tree huggers and like environmentalists.
I know Hasidic. There's a lot of Hasidic and Haitian, like random pockets of ethnic
of
communities,
folks,
right? Yeah.
And then you got like different just smoldering cities like Syracuse and Rochester and Buffalo. Like these places are all just used to be industrial and just haven't recovered since, and are just basically drug dens.
Ooh, okay, so it's like poor whites.
Yeah,
a lot of poor whites and blacks.
Poor whites, blacks, Puerto Ricans, people who've emigrated from New York City, people who wanted to get to Canada and didn't make it.
Oh man, yeah, okay. So what's there to do in a place where'd you grow up then? Did you grow up?
I grew up in East Nassau, New York, which is just 45 minutes east of the nearest city.
Gotcha.
And I grew up in a rural area of like trees and
Long Island,
countryside,
right?
and like farmers,
right,
and rednecks,
yeah,
and just hillbillies. And I was the last stop on the bus route. I'd walk a quarter of a mile, like the whole thing, freezing cold, snow, whatever. Coyotes, you know what I'm saying? Like they'd just be in the road, and me and my brother, him in his little snowsuit, would just be standing on the road, being like, "We got to wait this out," because home is back there, and it's only getting colder, so we'd have to wait it out.
Okay, so then did you ever live in the city?
I've lived in a bunch of cities.
Okay,
I've lived in.
But I mean, like, are you familiar with the city? No, I mean New York City. Did you ever
urban life? Yeah.
It's not still 45 minutes away. Isn't that far from New York? So
no.
Did you ever end up moving to New York or anything? Or
no, I never actually lived in New York City.
Okay.
I lived in Albany though.
Okay.
For a few years.
Whoa, what's that? That's the fucking capital.
That's the capital.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it.
That's all.
That's all there is.
That's
to
most
it.
capitals. I feel like
most
right?
capitals aren't even that important.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's all there is to most capitals is that they're the capital.
Exactly.
It could be anywhere else.
Yeah. And you have the state buildings, and all the workers that would like come from like white suburbia would flood in and then leave, and the city would be dead. Everything was kind of dependent.
It's like
on
DC.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Anything was just everybody who lived in the city worked for the people who lived out of the city.
Right.
Right.
The actual power elite doesn't live in that city.
No.
They actually, that's who
they have
hire.
Rented houses in all these
Gotcha.
amazing areas.
Right, of course.
Of McMansions.
Right.
And then the whole rest of the poor would just be there. And then there's like 4 colleges.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's SUNY Albany, which is a state school, Siena, which I went to, St. Rose, another private school, RPI, which is Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, probably one of the highest rated like science engineering schools. There's like a nanoscience college that just opened up there. It's interesting. I've always thought Albany to be like a weird experiment.
Uh-huh. And it's very close to Canada, right? It's pretty close to Canada.
Pretty close to Canada.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
like
there's like an air defense base, but there's like 4 planes. There's like 4. There's like 4.
They're not too concerned.
They're not.
They're
like
not trying to
the
build a
newest
wall.
models. Yeah, you're like, oh, that Airbus was made in the 80s. Like, they're getting a little late to the defense network.
See, I think that's when you know when we're in trouble is when they want to build a wall on the Canadian border.
Yeah, we gotta keep those
we gotta build a wall all around the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
So Albany, right? Okay. So then, how did you? What did you ever think about LA back then?
So
in
here
terms
we go.
of like, yeah.
So when you get into a relationship, you just do whatever the woman wants to
it's
do.
a woman thing. Okay.
So
that's how I got here.
That's real. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you always follow the whims of a woman.
Of course.
And
I mean, I do, but
every relationship. I don't want to travel.
Right.
I never care about traveling, but girlfriends always want you to go somewhere.
Right, and you're like, all right.
They're just they're never happy. And I guess if I want this pussy, I guess I'll stick around. Like you're like, okay, fine.
Nah, he's like, you're like, I know, I love that. Like, this is what love is.
This is what love is.
Is moving across the country.
Yeah, I'll just give up my family. Yeah,
fuck
that's fine.
it.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Fuck my family.
Yeah, fuck my family. Fuck my.
You know what? She's right.
Yeah,
fuck them.
Yeah, everything's toxic. Yeah,
it's about
leave.
me. I can make it out there.
And friggin'.
All right.
Okay, so I dated this girl fresh out of college, and she was in like business admin in like Staten Island. I used to commute to New York City all the time to go see her. And she ended up working for like a casting network for like ABC or something like that. She helped cast what's that thing? Vampire Diaries. She was like one of the people who like sat.
So you'd have to come into Manhattan to come see her.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So then after we started dating, she graduated and she wanted to go pursue her career in Hollywood.
Oh,
and I was
okay,
like,
so, all right.
so I'm like, well,
I'm
I'm not doing shit but substitute teaching. So yeah, fuck yeah, I'll just get my degree out there. She was like, you should go for your master's. She literally helped me write my master's.
Oh shit! So you got your master's degree because
no. Well, my master's entrance exam.
You get in.
Yeah.
Master's in what?
Teaching.
Education. Okay.
Yeah. I got my undergrad in history, and I was like doing all the paperwork, and I was like, "Can you proofread this?" Boom. Next thing you know, I'm getting accepted in this fucking school.
Nice.
Fast forward, we take a flight. We get to L.A. right on fucking West Hollywood, $900 a month. Right off of Sunset Boulevard. This was 2009.
Okay.
So that was a sublet for a month. It was $900 for a 1-bedroom.
All right.
Unheard of now.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Absolutely unheard of. But back then, that was a fucking steal. And so we didn't make it that long. We didn't make it that far.
Damn, you got all the way here, and then that was it?
Yeah, well, it took a while. We broke up after like the first month because we were just fighting. We never lived together. So we, as soon as you get together, you just figure it out. Like,
it's like two big changes.
Exactly. Like and I was like 21, so I was like
super young. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, what I'm saying, like all the stupid shit, like arguing until 3 a.m, the neighbors getting racket. We had to fucking get the fuck out of there.
Oh, so you've been here like 10 years?
No.
Oh, you left?
I went, after we broke up, I went down a slippery slope of just indulgence, we'll say, just in every aspect I could find.
You're just fucking everyone?
No. But just like, this was when weed first got legalized, so I was just
fucking high.
Just high. I wasn't even going.
You were like 21.
Yeah, but I was in the middle of my master's program, like barely going to classes. I went on vacation in the Dominican Republic and just logged in via a webinar.
Hell yeah, that's the way.
And I was there like, what are you doing on the beach? You're like, shouldn't you be at school? And I was like, yeah, no, I was.
Fuck the world.
Yeah, I'm on the beach, baby. Yeah, I was fucking out there, bro. So I had to.
No, I get you.
So
I can't judge. Yeah.
I was working like 6 part-time jobs, and like playing like. I was playing Mass Effect 2 on Xbox 360, and just let me tell you that, like,
you're painting a picture for me, sure.
When you get invested in a video game.
No, I know about the Mass Effect series.
The fucking A, man, I was glued.
Yeah.
And so I was just trying to stretch myself thin.
Sprawling sci-fi narrative.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
It's games are usually not like that.
Detailed and
like
invested
a novel,
in
like a novel, like a fucking playing a novel,
and the customization of the characters, and being able to do whatever. I love the characters.
I got you. Good. Yeah.
But anyway, trying to work 6 part-time jobs around playing my video games, and just I was on a scooter. I was on a little Vespa, just hustling through this fucking city. Right? I faked getting.
You had a Vespa? You were in LA.
LA and a Vespa.
Wait, where's the school? Where's the school at?
No, I wasn't teaching at the time.
Oh, okay.
I was doing. I was audio engineering. I was working at a catering company. I was doing like fundraising.
It's like what I'm doing now. I'm getting like I have like 4. I'm trying to get like 4 or 5 jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, and just doing the part time.
Yeah.
And I stretched myself so thin that I wasn't really paying my rent.
Oh man.
And so, I went homeless for a little while. I got kicked out of my apartment.
So you had all those jobs, but you were just smoking it all?
Smoking it and spending it. And my scooter broke down. I was paying for repairs all the time.
Jesus
and
Christ.
Just like...
the Vespa, yeah.
And I slept on Venice Beach for 3 months.
Damn.
And that was... I kept my shit in storage. And I slept on the beach, and like this was like way before like Venice Beach Patrol got all fancy and shit. Like I could dig a hole.
Shady, yeah.
Yeah, I dug a hole and had like a sleeping bag and shit in there, and I would just like kind of curl up in a cave that I'd create, and fucking I'd be able to put a piece of cardboard on top and bury it, and like no one would fucking touch it. So I had like a little layer, and then I would shower at a gym, and I was working all these jobs, and I just had, this was when cell phones were like really elementary, and like, I just had a different kind of life. And I ended up not being able to sustain it. And when I lost my last job, I flew home.
Okay.
Right? So I was just fucking up everything. And so I got back to Albany, and I restarted my master's because I was kicked out of that program. And I lived at home for about 2 months, and then I got a job as a temporary anger management counselor for 12 to 15-year-old girls.
Okay.
And
all right.
That actually lifted me into another position at this nonprofit organization called Trinity, which was just in the deepest part of the hood. And like I really was able to like come out of that and get other jobs and other positions. And I worked my way up into like getting my own apartment and like being able to like sustain myself. And I did that from 2010 to 2015, so 5 years of just hustling and doing my shit. Finished my master's in 2012, met a new girl, got my life together, and then we were together for 3 years, and she was like, I can't stand the cold. She was from like San Jose or whatever, and she was like, I don't want to be in the fucking winter anymore. I fucking hate it. And I was like, all right.
So we moved back to California?
We packed up our shit, and I chose between 2 schools, one in the Bay and then one in L.A. here. And I was working at this other kind of non-traditional school. And I fucking was able to schmooze them. Jesus, man, alternative education. You just gotta make you just sell dreams because you can do anything that you want for all these things. I taught a class like full on about slavery. I taught a class about the labor movement.
All right.
I was able to I teach the samurai class. I was able to come up with like a game making class where we created our own like RPG game boards and shit, like Dungeons and Dragons, but then with actual figurines. And I was having these kids come up with all these concepts. We go on huge trips and go like snowboarding off parking garages, like. You can just having no rules like as a school, man. I was like me being Rufio of the Lost Boys.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, man.
So then, to get to like, did you do the samurai thing with like an accent? That'd be awesome.
I did like
I am a samurai.
No, we found 2 wooden katanas underneath the stairs.
Did you have to like fight each other?
I had them do like little matches.
That's nice. That's cool. That's totally what I would do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd put them against each other.
Yeah, I put money on them. Yeah.
Back in the day, this meant everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the whole thing. We read about Bushido and like the whole culture.
Code.
Yeah, and we go out and meditate and shit. There's like a garden with like chickens and shit.
Yeah.
Then we go sit on individual rocks and like meditate for 15 minutes and like get in the zone and then like go back and I'd have them fight each other.
Fuck yeah.
So it was sick. So after that school, I told them about all these things that I used to do. I used to be a LARP camp director for a laser tag LARP camp where we'd create a story and then I'd have this set of laser guns that were independently controlled by a laptop and you would keep score. And so we would have kids come up with like missions, and there'd be like deathmatch mode or like capture the flag mode. But then we would take it outside with like like an extender. And so we would create like we found like blow ups from like paintball matches, and we create courses out in the fields.
Oh, that's cool. And how come there's not much laser tag now? You think? It seems to be. I just don't.
Destiny 2. You got.
Is it out there? I just don't.
It's all. It's Fortnite, dude.
Oh.
And you could just sit. You don't have to run.
Right.
And it's like $25 to go to a fucking laser tag tournament.
Maybe, do you think it's just too expensive? Like, do you think if they lowered the price point, like, what would you think because I think people would like it. It would be fun if it was accessible somehow.
Right.
You know
if the
what I mean?
advertising was there.
Yeah, maybe the marketing or just, I don't know.
You know what was
could
crazy? For an adult, there was a gym downtown next to the Clown House, which I host every Friday at 8 p.m. 334 West Pico Boulevard.
Get the plugs in, yes.
Yep. Every Friday at 8. Come on down if you're a new comic, old comic, whatever. It's 10 minutes, $5. So there used to be a gym right next to the Clown House called Laser Fit.
Okay.
They'd set up like an obstacle course.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it'd be and you'd have adults shooting laser pistols, and they'd be like vaulting over shit,
like cardio and shit.
Yeah, exactly. That went broke after like a month and a half.
God damn it! What was?
Nobody could get him in. Nobody could rope. It seems genius.
It seems like a great idea, but why not? Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Physical activity isn't in anymore.
You think so? Even here,
the adults. Look, if a laser tag.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it could have been the location because it was downtown on like Pico and Grand.
Think it's physical activity? You think people are just lazy fucks? Like, you think, or do you think they're just like
people don't even want to leave the house? People don't have the money to leave their house.
So okay.
Spend on luxury goods. People would rather Amazon Prime their lives away than actually pick up and go somewhere. Especially for families of like bigger than 2 or 3 kids.
I mean, I can see that. Yeah.
Also, parents don't want to be obligated to socialize.
But I wonder, do you think like if there was a lot more like people had a lot more disposable income, because right now I feel like nobody has disposable income really.
That's a thing too.
You know, like if they had the money to do stuff like that, like I wonder if they would.
Well,
know?
See, the parents that come to this school, which will not be named, are pretty well off. I think these families, they either have dual incomes, they're in either tech or they're artists or they're in the entertainment industry.
Right.
Everybody, they're like acupuncturists and doctors. Like all these folks have disposable income, but then all of them are like pacifists at the same time.
Right.
And I feel like the more money, like the more middle class you sometimes are, especially in LA, right? It'd be more prone to like a liberal perspective, being like, I'm about gun control. You know, like I'm not gonna put a gun in my kids' hands.
Of course. Oh yeah. I mean, first of all, you have to come from some money to even consider alternative education. You know, the idea of like that you could, you know what I mean? Sure.
And
but I just mean in general, you know, if you're poor, it's public school. You know, you're going to public school or no school or whatever. You know,
the fucking what's it called? The vouchers and go to charters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's that whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel education is one of the things where I'm like, yeah. Do you know about this guy John Paul Gatto? Do you know him?
Sounds familiar.
He wrote this. He's supposed to be this guy. He was okay. I'm trying to remember the story. All right, he was a teacher in New York who ended up taking like a class in Harlem, just like one of the most underperforming classes, and made them like the top performing AP math students. Basically, they were
teach him how to rap. Like, what did he do?
No, they taught him how to rap. Actually, is the exchange. No, I'm just kidding. He taught them math. They taught him
$1 million
rap.
superstar. And like paid him all.
No, this was actually probably before hip hop was even cool. Like this is back in the like early
Lean on me kind of shit.
like late 70s, early 80s type. So he takes these kids, fucking takes them to the top. And then they were like, he got huge. He was all over time. They were like, what? Because it was like, you know, makes great news. Like, class, all these black kids, like, from the hood, like, or Harlem. Like, whoa, how did he do it? But then when he revealed how he did it, he got fired. And the reason why was he said, well, he just threw out the curriculum and he taught what he called the trivium. And the trivium is basically just like what the classics in classic education, going all the way back to the Roman times, and basically preserved, I guess, through the church. But it's just like, I think it's reading, rhetoric, and mathematics or something. It's basically three core things you teach them, and then from there they can learn everything else. All the other things. And this is sort of like a classical way of teaching that has basically been abandoned by the modern education system. Mostly because the modern education system was built around the sort of the
horseman industrial revolution kind of shit.
Or the office culture. You know what I'm saying? It's like going in. If you think about it, it's like going in, you clock in, there's a bell, you go to another thing. It's either factory or like office work where you just sit there, you obey the authority, you do your work.
Exactly.
Everything's kind of compartmentalized.
You fill in the bubbles. It teaches you how to be like a caseworker.
Overall, you have to salute the flag together. You know, you're sort of kind of conditioned to be good citizens and workers. I mean, that's basically what it is, right? Like, because you're not really taught too much critical thinking. Because if you start doing that, you'll start questioning the orders, right? That's how you question orders. You'll be like, wait a minute, doesn't make sense. But that's what the trivium teaches you to do, because it teaches critical thinking. But once you give kids that base, they can actually learn other things like mathematics, whatever, everything else like comes easier. But anyways, they fired him for that. He put out like a Wall Street Journal editorial.
Exactly, just shitting on the
basically just say, the fucking education system sucks, and this is why I got my kids to the fucking top.
Exactly, because you just take it out. Then
you have to quit. He basically quit, but anyways, I feel like after I learned about that guy, a lot of my experiences being a public school teacher myself made a lot of sense.
Yeah,
it made a lot of fucking sense. It was like, oh, okay, this makes it, because it was all about the test
and social control.
No. I mean, it was like, there's a test you got to take at the end of the year for every school, and that actually
regents
determines how much money you get. So the way you get money is they track kids in what quartile they're in on the score, and if you bump them up a quartile, you get money for that.
Teachers or the school?
The school, right? Budgetary wise, you get rewarded. Essentially, it was a sort of a incentive system for kids having high scores. So I was they literally told me,
teach you the test
and ignore the kids who won't, where even if they did better, they wouldn't bump up the quartile. You know what I'm saying?
Teach the ones who will pass.
No, not even that. Teach the ones who are on the border to get to the quartile. You know what I'm saying? So like, even if they were like, let's say they were like C students or B students, if they're sort of solidly in the middle, they're like, fuck those kids, target the kids who are right at like the 59% or whatever, like at the threshold, because they need the money. So in their eyes, those kids don't matter, because it doesn't matter if they do good or bad. There's no money involved. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So then I was just like, dude, this is gross, man. Like, how you're telling me to actively ignore kids, and they're like, this is just how we get our budget. Like, okay.
As a sub, I used to go into classrooms. I used to be a permanent sub for this one high school, and I used to go to all the different classes. So I'd be, an art teacher for a day, social studies teacher for a day, and I would look at the shit they would give me, and I would sometimes not even bother doing it. I would have I'd have the answers written on the board, being like, all right, everybody just fill these in. But then I would go to like World Star Hip Hop or something like that and do like basically like an SNL, like weekend update kind of thing, being like just cracking one-liners for each thing. And
Did you just do comedy?
I just did comedy, yeah. It was like the beginning part of it, just trying to entertain little black kids, because they're the ones who want they're just so cool all the fucking time.
Yeah, man. Well, they're a great audience. First of all,
they're a great audience.
Fantastic. And one of the best audiences.
Yeah, exactly. Little black kids in high schools, the best audiences by far.
Also, they're like the best roasters on the planet, so they appreciate. Yes, you got to be on top of your game.
Yeah,
'cause they'll fuck you up. Like what I'm saying. Like you got to be able to come back, or else, you have no respect. They won't respect you, which I appreciate.
Big forehead is always a good way to just be able to own a room. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
You call someone big forehead,
or whatever outlandish feature that person has on them. You cut them down a couple pegs. You just get the loudest one in the room, and then you fucking keep rolling.
Mm-hmm.
You're just getting rid of the hecklers.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I would do that for a long time, and then I showed up late 3 times and I had to switch schools.
Okay.
No,
there you go.
It's just always.
Wait, so this is all in L.A.?
No, this is back in New York.
Back in New York.
But coming here.
So you came here. So you got into a school here.
This school here.
This school.
Yeah. After telling them my experience being the laser tag camp director and
all that stuff,
the free spirited teacher from before,
right?
And so I come here, and it's back to square one. I'm assistant teacher. I just kind of do what everybody says, but the culture here is vastly different than any other place I've worked at.
Right.
It's more cooperative, consensus-based decision making. Everybody's in on it. Everybody needs to know what's going on. We all check in about certain kids, and so everybody's aware of all the issues. A lot of
communicating.
Yeah.
A lot of it's not like hierarchical or like any of that shit.
And we've had workshops where we've talked about seniority and different positions of power and what power looks like. And some of the teachers with like the most vocal or, most knowledge of the school would keep like certain privileges and stuff away from other teachers. And over time, like a lot of people started reading into that, and there was a lot of complaints talked about, and we had these people from UCLA come in and do a workshop with us talking about that, and a lot of people got read the riot act, of how they behave, and like that allows me at least to step up, especially this year, and actually start gaining a little bit more leverage in the decision making.
Wait. So when did you start here?
I've been here for 4 years.
Okay, so that's 4 years ago when you started.
Yeah.
And so now
so
that's
like
cool. You're
I'm a full bona fide teacher.
You're a full blown teacher. You're fucking. So then, in comedy,
Comedy started in 2009 when I was living with that ex-girlfriend on Sunset.
Gotcha. So when you were out here, you actually started out here.
Yeah, I started out here. Well, because what I used to be a professional beatboxer.
Oh.
And I've been doing that since I was like 16, and I'm gonna do a little bit on the mic in a bit after this bowl.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, everybody. Okay, wait. All right, you got the comedy, you got the teaching, you got the all right, and these ladies taking you one way, taking you the other way, across the country, literally. But actually, you know what? I'm the same, except not so many trips. I feel I went from California to New York and then back to LA because of 2 separate women, pretty much. But that's whatever, man. That's the heart goes where the heart goes. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, that's just, and it's for the best. I mean, okay. So then, do you find it hard, or how do you sort of like, how do you keep up both the teaching and the comedy? Do you feel like they fit together? Do you feel like they're at odds? Like, how do you sort of feel?
Right now, it's been I haven't really been going hard at comedy until like about January. January is where I really I became host of the Clown House, and then all these other opportunities and doors started, because I wasn't really doing shit. Like, I was doing maybe Comedy Store once a month through just my relationship with like Jeff Husbands and Adam Barnhart. And, they would put me on different shows. And then that would be about it. I never did any of the locals. Like, I never really hung out with any of the folks here until, like, people started offering me shit. And then, so it's been kind of complicated since January. But luckily, because comedy's a nighttime gig
Uh-huh.
and school is a daytime
All
gig.
right, so then, you
Yeah,
basically just balance
It's
it.
kind of
day
balanced,
for
but it's
night.
like, peak exhaustion.
Uh-huh.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, you're just fucking. I mean, it's a job, right? I mean, if anything, that's sort of. I mean,
It's
would
two
you?
jobs.
I mean, would
It's
you
two jobs.
rather teach or do comedy though, if you had to pick one? Like, if you were given a choice, or is it?
See, the
like,
thing is my father's always told me to have an exit strategy.
right.
He was in show business for like 40 years. My
Right.
dad is a tap dancer, actor, singer, dancer, everything. Just he's done everything. He's been
But
on
you
Broadway.
said, he was on
movies-
Broadway,
Broadway
and
movies
shit,
and shit.
okay,
And
he's
so
done
it's
it up.
like that example.
And what's his name?
Alan Weeks.
Alan Weeks. All right.
Alan Weeks, and he's got shit on YouTube that I've never seen before, and he's never talked about.
Right.
He was just kind of the guy who just did the work and never really bragged about it.
Okay.
And so I've kind of trying to take that example of like, I've done a lot of shit, but like you wouldn't know unless you asked me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Like
and-
what?
I'm just like what? I killed the motherfucker. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Talk about I killed the motherfucker.
All right,
No.
man. That's cool.
No. But like, no, he raised me making shows.
I mean, it just sounds like then you have this sort of work ethic. So, like, basically in your mind, you're like, well, comedy's at night and school's at day, so I could do both. I could literally
could do both.
I could
but
literally do
it-
both and I'd be fine. Like,
but the
doing
thing
that.
is like teaching requires a consistency, right? And comedy is always inconsistent.
Right.
And from whatever you're doing, like you could do a mic every day and it not make a goddamn difference. But
Right.
if you really want to get a leg up, that requires a little bit shift in perception, or like being able to be like, what do I want from this interaction? You start thinking about people and who you hang out with differently,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Yeah, of course.
and people are attracted to that. And once you start putting that out there, like, yo, I'm interested in doing shows because I think I'm good enough.
Uh-huh.
Then people will start coming to you.
Sure.
And that's kind of what's been going on. And
Uh-huh.
like since creating my own shows,
Mhm.
and seeing it work routinely
Mhm.
and it getting better and better each time, folks are starting to pay attention and want me on
Nice.
their shows because they see what I'm doing with
Oh,
my
yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Like right after this, I'm going to fucking Playa del Rey. I got a show there. Shout out to Curtis D. Davis for putting
Boom.
me on.
Got another
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Show going. I mean, yeah, it's. Yeah. That's kind of crazy, though. Was it? So your dad was sort of like. Because you weren't in a showbiz town, but you had a showbiz dad.
Yeah.
But he was not doing showbiz shit. Was he, doing
was,
showbiz
he
shit
was
while
always
he
doing,
was in town, or was he
was-
away?
he always had something up his sleeve. Like he taught tap dancing at.
Gotcha.
He became a teacher.
So then,
so-
okay, so that
so-
makes sense. All right, so you saw that firsthand. You saw a lot of this stuff firsthand.
Yeah,
of
he would
like-
be running shit and doing shows. I've been basically recreating what my dad had,
Right.
but doing it in my own
Just
way.
a chip off the old block,
Right.
basically.
It's
right.
just, but it's just how I was raised.
Right.
Like no matter what, like you do the things that
Right.
you did growing up. You
I mean, my dad was never around, but I'm pretty much doing the same shit he's doing.
Right,
Like,
you
I'm pretty
become
much
your
turning
father.
it- Yeah,
you
just,
become your father. It's
you,
the
you
most
can't help
disgusting
it.
thing.
It
yeah.
is. It is.
Right.
It is basically.
And I
yes.
started thinking about shit, being like, "This is how my old man felt at this moment."
Exactly. See, yeah, you do
And
that
you're-
too,
and
right?
you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Holy shit!
I think that's something that happened to me as I got older. I was like, wait a minute, my dad was fucking my age when he had. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! Like,
This is the way
like,
I'm thinking about it. Like,
Yeah,
what were
yeah.
you doing? Yeah.
Like on one hand, I am like I have some empathy, but on the other hand, I'm like, dude, just you couldn't get it together.
Yeah,
You couldn't get it
yeah,
together.
yeah.
Like,
you're
I could get
pulling-
it together now. Like,
yeah.
you knew what was going. You had to have known. You know what I'm saying? Like if once you're in your 30s, you're not that dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have a kid. You
Mm.
do know that. You either have to do this or that, or you shouldn't do this or that. Like
Right.
that's still with you. But the weirdest thing about I think having kids or being a kid is the smallest shit that your dad does will affect you, and it's like nothing to him. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
Like it's just a throwaway little gesture, or look, or whatever, and it's just burned into your mind
Yeah.
forever. And like
Yeah.
there's shit I'll never forget. For my dad, and like he doesn't fucking remember any of it at all. Like so.
I can't remember I did that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck, Jesus, and that shit really like it's crazy, man. It's so weird to, but you can't really, I guess. Part of like this idea of helicopter parenting, or the idea with like kids nowadays, where they get it's a lot of managing of outcomes in their life, right? Like participation trophies,
Oh,
or
yeah.
you're not. There's no like number one, number two, and in a way, what starts happening is if like kids start playing sports or interacting with the real world, they start saying, "Oh, that's not actually true. There is actually a hierarchy. Like there are people who are faster than I am,
Yep.
or smarter, or better, or I'm better than that. But you know what I mean? Like that does exist, and we're all competing. Like,
Yep.
and it just seems like I wonder for the. Sometimes I'm afraid for the future, basically.
But it's always been like we're not going to be around for it. We're not going to be around for it. So it's like, why worry?
We, as in me and you,
Yeah,
like as dudes, like we're gonna die before.
Well, think about it this way: I've actually let a lot of shit go after, like, because reading the news, right? I read it every day, right? And I'm always, I feel, but it's like worrying about the future and like how everything's gonna spiral out of control and climate change. And blah, 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 blah.
Sure,
it's fucking happening now.
Right.
It's just not to us directly.
Yeah.
And it's like.
And it will, or it won't,
when
or
it
whatever.
Does,
yeah.
And it's like, I got 3-gallon jugs of water, and that's going to last me a day and a half.
Right.
You know? I already know that if shit goes down, I might as well start hiking or I'm going to die. You know?
Oh, dude, we're in LA, we're fucked. Like, if you're in LA, there's no water here. There's no, once power's out, like New York, you'd be safer after everybody kills each other. Like, there's still actually... it still was a city before electricity, so it knows how to be a city without that shit. But LA was built after that. You know what I mean? There's like without cars and electricity, there's no food supply here. It would
be wild.
It would be a great it'll become a desert again. That's basically what happened.
It'd be wild.
Yeah. It'll be Mad Max. But I'm not afraid about that. Like that doesn't bother me.
Are you talking about like the?
I'm just talking about like the overall. The human character, you know what I'm saying? Just like just what we can strive to be. Sure, we're gonna die, and that's fine.
Okay,
like it's all meaningless anyways.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is like, do you think you can't manage fucking outcomes of everything, and there are natural hierarchies aside from like not like racist ones, but I'm just saying like some people are taller than others, and some people, you know what I mean? There's just that is what it is. So
what's that Tom Cruise movie where he tries to predict the future of a crime? What the fuck is that called?
Minority Report.
Right. And saying like, oh, in the future everything will be predictable.
Right, like that pre-crime shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And thinking that people remember at the end of the movie when he had to make that decision of like, oh, I'm gonna just stop the crime right now, you know,
killing
because I ended up actually doing the crime, like, you know, like it was all predicted anyway in the future. No matter what choice you make, it's already made for you at the end. You know, I don't know.
Wait, I thought the end was that the old dude fucked with the thing to make it say that he committed the crime,
and he didn't commit the crime.
But it wasn't. Yeah, because he was evil. He was a bad guy.
Right, but think about that.
The idea of pre-crime.
No, but that's Hollywood bullshit.
Right.
I'm so sick and tired of Hollywood making everybody the underdog, because the real situation is if you look at most movies and you see the people in power and they're seen as evil, that's what's going on right now.
Of course.
There's no morality in that bad man. They always say that he's a bad, and he has this evil laugh and shit.
Right.
He's not that person at all. Right? Anybody who's in that position of power and makes those same decisions doesn't have that same kind of character. And we actually laud that. You know, we consider that more important as something to reach. I
don't know, but I think the cracks are showing in the system, right? Like, I feel like, especially now that Trump's president, the idea that Trump could be president, the idea of...
he's going to be president in 2020.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's also, like, for me, more just an indication of how bad the Democrats have played their... You know what I mean? Like, they have not really...
Are they even a team?
They're not doing shit. I don't know, man. They're not trying to win this at all, man.
They're not even
trying to
a
win
team.
it at all. So they lost. They lost a long time ago. They lost 3 years ago when they started doing the Russia thing. You know what I mean? When they didn't...
But
what they needed to do is build a coalition. They didn't.
But it's like there's nothing... They're not saying anything simple enough to get a good... news. Like, you think about the Green New Deal, right? Think about how amazing that could be.
Sure.
Even if it is $16 fucking trillion, 16 billion or something. Right? If there was some easy ways for people to ingest that information without actually buying into like the whole capitalist idea of like, oh, that's not going to work because we don't have the for it. We already do.
Of course we do. We don't fucking say that about war.
But people are also morons now. Remember, like back in the day when like we didn't even have the Eisenhower interstate system, or like any kind of like the 70s revolutionized like how business is done.
Sure.
Interstate,
yeah.
And just interstate travel and connections, and like all these jobs and things were just created out of nowhere. Offices were made, grants were doled out.
Yeah.
People just started building infrastructure. And it's like we have those same tools, but the same shitty buildings.
Right. Well, I think what it looks like is the basically like the wealthy of this country don't care about the country, and they're seeking to just extract as much wealth as possible. And then on top of that, there's that's why neither party actually wants to offer the public anything.
Right.
They don't want to give them health care. They don't want to give them fucking student loan
I
or
think
loan.
if we actually had the amount of money, everybody would have a coke problem.
No. Here's the thing. We do have the money. We do have the money.
But if the money was given to regular people,
right, everybody would fucking die. But that's neither here nor there. Isn't that our freedom though? Aren't we free to do that though? Isn't that
right? But
and that's our God-given right as Americans to kill ourselves.
Right, but then the value of shit would go down. That's what I always think too. Is if more people were getting shit, the more shit we're going to use and waste.
Right.
Right.
But
so keeping us poor is actually good for the environment.
Okay. Yeah, but it's not good for a long-term outcome on society. I mean, something's going to break. You know what I mean? Like something happens.
Elysium. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what, it's just a pattern that repeats in history. So, the wealthy get wealthier, the poor get poorer, but more and more people get poor. So then the poor start reaching a critical mass, and there's less and less wealthy people until either revolution breaks out or something. Something happens. So, like something
the mass die off, and then shit is just equaled out.
Or they fucking just start murdering everybody.
See, yeah.
They start enslaving everybody and killing them.
Think about it this way. The times in which we're at right now, right? We had Spanish influenza.
Sure.
And World War One.
Yeah.
Right?
That's, 100 years ago. Yeah.
Right, 100 years ago, and it's now reaching crazy proportions.
Sure. In that 100 years. I mean, compare 1819 to 1919, right?
Right.
Just that 100 years, which a lot of shit happened. I mean, if you think about Civil War, fucking happened. You got your railroad, you got your telephone coming in, a lot of shit. But still horses. In 1919, people were still using horses. You know what I'm saying? But like now, you know what I mean? Like, so the amount, and there were no computers. They were not, like, so where we are now, the most advanced thing was the telegraph. That was the fucking dopest shit. Well, telephone. The telephone, so that's pretty dope. But
I wonder if there's dirty text in telegraph.
Oh, there had to have been. Of course.
There's send nudes.
Yeah. Or like
draw ASCII characters of penises.
But the thing, I guess the problem is there is somebody who takes a telegraph, so it had to be like code.
Right.
You'd have to have like pretty sick code, like pretty sweet. But probably there was a lot of dirty
like
shit.
Wind talkers, no.
Yeah. You'd be like, I want to put forth your rose petal onto my, they'd be like, ooh. Like, and I bet they would collect them and fucking sell them, like Penthouse and shit.
Right,
read that telegraph shit. Like a telegraph porn.
Yeah.
Well, it had to. It existed.
It definitely had to happen.
It had to exist. People always make porn out of technology. That's actually what drives technology.
Is porn, yeah. VR is crazy now.
Oh God, I don't. Have you ever done any
I've
of that
watched.
shit?
I'm not even interested. It's always weird. They always have like the 3 girls giving a hand job, and I'm like, all right, I know these characters, but I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's just. I don't really.
Okay, go.
I'll go. Yeah, no, I'm just saying I don't really care to be that immersed for porn. You know what I mean? Like porn, I feel like there's sort of a purpose. For me, I just want to jerk it and then that's it. Like I don't want to keep watching porn forever.
Some people watch it like a series. Some people just sit and watch it.
See, that's not me. I get. Sure.
I have a friend who's a porn star. I've known her my whole life. And she's been directing now for Evil Engine.
Oh, okay.
And
that's her craft, so she's watching the whole thing.
But it's really funny when we're sitting there eating like vegan burritos or some shit like that. And we're sitting and talking, and she's like, so like my artistic abilities. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you realize like ain't nobody care, right?
Right.
Nobody actually gives a shit.
Yeah.
It, like thinks critically about porn and being like, ooh, the camera angles are revolutionary.
Wait, does she really actually say stuff like that? Like, what does she say?
What's just thinking about her art and her work, right?
She wants to be different. She doesn't want to be she's also a woman. She's also male-dominated field.
Well, no, she's a trans woman.
Oh,
she's a trans.
Oh, okay.
She's a transsexual porn star.
Wait. So she was a man originally,
yes, right?
And then transitioned to a woman.
Yeah, I've seen the whole thing.
So now, as a woman, is a porn director.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
She put on a pregnant belly and fucked a dude in the ass.
So she has a dick still?
She does.
Okay.
Yep.
So but now she directs.
She directed that.
Okay, she directed it. That was
she was
she's in it
she
too.
starred and
She's
directed
in
it.
and directed.
And
Wow,
she made she made
not...
trans prego porn.
So she really does everything. I mean, she's
yeah. No.
She was a man. She's now a woman. She's a director. She's a star. I mean,
and she did prego porn.
All right, and prego, but not really.
No.
That's fake.
That's obviously
That's
fake,
not really.
but
I suppose
crazy to think about.
Right, but I don't know. I wonder if can a trans woman be pregnant if you just say you are? I mean, like I guess who am I to say?
Yeah,
who am I to assume
I guess
you're
that baby?
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's yours. Yeah, it's real. It's all real. Whatever you want, which is, I guess, why we turn to virtual reality. Now,
right.
yeah.
It's not going to matter anyway. You can make yourself a fucking avatar of anybody.
Now, here's the thing. I feel like as bad as things are around there, out in the world, and things can be, to me, I feel like what could be worse is if nothing happens. You know, like it's just imagine if it's just like this for like another 200 years, or at least 200-300 more years. You know what I mean? Like, because if you think about the geologic time scale, our lifetime is a blip in all of it. You know what I mean? When we're talking about climate and things like that, so we could be off by one decimal. You know, we could be off by. It could be 10 years. It could be 100 years.
Think about the folks who died knowing that Donald Trump is our president and thinking that's the end.
Well, some of them were very happy at having.
Right.
Most of them probably were actually, judging from the voting record, judging from the senior citizens.
The geriatrics are dying now happy.
Yeah, yeah, they're like that. Yeah, we did it. We made America great again.
We did it.
We did it. We got it back.
Some last
They're gonna run it back, and just like Grandpappy wanted.
Exactly.
That's what they fought for. But you know what? They're all fooled too. Here's the thing that I know about politicians now in my all my years. I was fucking, I don't know. I have a political science degree or whatever study, but I feel like none of that really matters. You know what I mean? Like just watching this shit, it's just like none of these motherfuckers actually believe in any of the shit they say. You know what I'm saying? Like so Trump, racist, white supremacist, whatever, and the people they like him, whatever. He doesn't. These people don't care about race, and you know what I mean. They don't care. That stuff is like wrestling to that pro wrestling.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like they care about wealth and power. Mm-hmm. Care about Jeffrey Epstein, hopefully dying and not telling everybody about
what happened. Yeah.
You know, about the stuff that he has on the. You know, that's the stuff they
care
about.
Bill Clinton in the blue dress. You seen that picture?
Oh yeah, man.
That was weird.
Come on, I mean, at least, even if it's just, a piece of art, which is it, the woman painted it, you know, like, it was and she was like, whoa, that's weird. Even she was like, whoa. She was like, wow, that's weird. Just think about symbolically what that even means, you know? Right. Like, I was just listening to this podcast about, like, maybe if Clinton's on that plane over 26 times, right? Mm-hmm. They got him on the plane and the island, and the shit's been all wired with cameras. Then he's got to have dirt on it. You know what I mean?
Sex tape,
He's got to have multiple sex tapes.
Right.
Not just one.
I bet they've just been sitting on it.
No, that's why that dude was untouchable. But something must have happened. I'm just saying, something happened somewhere.
He got everybody on camera.
Yeah. But something happened where they must have, like, who's got it now? That's what I want to know. That's the thing. And other people think that maybe he was intelligent. He probably was intelligent. Like whatever. And that's what intelligence does. They fucking blackmail it. Sexual blackmail is
it's
actually
one of the most powerful things you can get on somebody.
That's the currency of, I feel like, the intelligence community is if they could get you banging a kid on camera, they could just do whatever.
Exactly.
The rich and powerful. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
Can you imagine that? Yeah. So this dude was doing this for fucking decades, like, and just imagine he got caught. Imagine the dudes who are good enough to not be caught, like, are truly sociopathic and don't even they don't even have these urges. They just have a business.
Gross. Can we talk about kids are gross?
Yes.
Kids
are disgusting.
They're disgusting human beings.
Yeah.
Like,
why would you want to fuck them?
Why would you want?
You don't want to fuck these kids. Yeah.
It's so weird to me how people are into it. And there was a thing on the news saying they wanted to change it to an orientation. Pedophilia.
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I thought about Pizzagate, and I thought about how this envelope is getting pushed. You ever heard about that experiment with the rats?
Which one?
The one where they reach critical. We're talking about critical mass.
Yeah,
earlier.
the population
And
study.
and the thing is, like over time, like even populations of penguins and shit do this too.
Same shit. They
like,
degenerate basically.
They kind of turn to like necrophiliacs, pedophiliacs,
incest and shit,
and all this other shit because
there's
just too many people. And I'm wondering, like, is a human progression? And I can't believe I'm saying this on fucking the record.
Here we go.
Right. Like, remember when they were talking about if they legalize homosexuality, it's going to be bestiality.
Right.
And once it's bestiality, it's going to be pedophilia. And all those religious conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if the Jeffrey Epstein the case was brought out so much, like R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, all these things are like normalizing this behavior almost.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we're at this huge public outcry is going on, there's still people that do this shit on the regular. Like you said, there's sociopaths and shit are getting away with it. And now they're just finding out ways how to hide their shit even more, because of the fucking scandals. It's like school shooters. They're all learning from each other.
I feel like, I think yes on some level, but one thing I do remember learning from psychology or whatever is that like the rate of this shit has been pretty consistent over time. You know what I mean? Like
there's always been shit like this.
It's been going on forever. You know what I mean? And for as long as the Catholic Church, you know how long they've been fucking behind this shit.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but I'm just saying people have been fucking kids forever. You know what I mean? Like,
anyway.
and it's been since Greek, Roman,
mythology,
Greek times.
Yeah.
No, well, like there was a form
but it was
of,
a different. Like
it was different, but like these laws that actually dictate what an adult is and what a kid is are pretty new. You know what I'm saying? Like they've come in the past couple hundred years. Like they're not that ancient, but things like marrying and things like that's pretty ancient.
Still
you know what I mean?
still going on now,
and
like Yemen and shit.
Yeah, wherever. Yemen also being bombed,
completely with smithereens.
By
but like
our
African brides are fucking selling children and shit. Yeah,
it's chaos out there. You know what I'm saying? Like and it has been, and so I don't know. I feel like I understand this idea that like, oh, maybe it's a orientation or whatever, but like, I think you gotta draw the line somewhere, and it's gotta be kids.
Yeah.
That's where the line. That's where we should draw.
Bare
line,
minimum.
It just can't be a free for all. Like, let's just fucking. We can't. You gotta protect the kids. Come on. You can't. And the thing about that is that in actuality, they are the most vulnerable and are being fucking trafficked. You know what I mean? They are because they have no one. They don't vote. They don't have money. You know what I mean? They have no power.
There's no advocacy.
Yeah, they have no power. They're the number one victims in all this shit. You know what I mean? And so it's sort of. A lot of it is sort of kind of a weird hypocrisy of our society to be like, protect the kids, but in actuality, they are the ones being fucked. And not only the poorest ones, the fucking elites of the elite, you know what I'm saying? Like the ones that get into Hollywood, the ones that become rich and famous. They're fucking all
There's no free trip to Hawaii.
It's crazy, but I know, right? Like, but the thing is, like, I trip on this all the time, like, just the idea that there is child entertainment, that's just fucking straight up abuse. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole idea.
The thing with the YouTube channels now too.
Oh god, the weird
pushing YouTube channels.
And the weird algorithms they make that make these weird ass videos that get the babies hooked on them and stuff. Like
there was that one video of I saw this. There's a huge explosion because one of the dads thought it would be funny to like duct tape his kid to the bed. Or something like that,
and then that was it. That was the video,
and like film the reaction of it, and like people are doing,
blew up.
And people are doing stupid shit all the time. There's like a family of 5 or whatever. And they would like beat the shit out of the runt of the kids. They would always like tease them and like scare them and like harass them.
There's also some like weird pedophile shit with that too, with a lot of those weird kid videos because there's some
girls
kind of
doing
like
splits and nonsense like that.
Yeah, or just like kind of in bikinis or something.
Yeah,
like
just
scantily,
really
like or bathing
weird.
videos and stuff. It's like it's. And so I get what you're saying. I think what it is that the internet is actually allowing people to connect, which could enable more people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
which could
you wouldn't
enable
know it unless wouldn't know it unless it existed.
Right. You know,
every 11-year-old boy who's ever been exposed, like when I was exposed to the internet, boom. Vagina,
on the other hand, though, I feel like
vagina. Jesus. There's a story. Here's a story. Me and my homeboy. Okay, this is, I think, older than this is definitely. I was in high school. I was like 14. And me and my homeboy figured out how to credit card scam on AOL. So what I would do is my friend was in like Pal Talk. He was Pakistani and he was talking on MSN Instant Messenger to this guy named Mercy from Toronto. And he would tell us like ways in order to gain access to people's email accounts.
Oh, okay.
Right? So what we would do is we would he would give me a rap sheet, and I would call AOL customer service, would be connect me to someplace in India, and I'd put on my really like kind of adult sounding voice, and I'd pretend to be like a technician.
Wait, so like give me an example.
So I'd be like, hello, this is blah 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 blah, and I'm calling.
And you calling somebody Indian?
In India, whatever.
So they'd be like, hello?
They'd be like, hello,
who's this?
Who's this? And
Hello?
be like, well, I'm a technician for AOL customer service, and I need you to reset the host account for this.
Okay.
Reset the host account.
Well, okay, sure.
It's this particular number 9X725. Can you please reset this host account?
Okay.
You see it in your window right now. If you pull up your setting options, if you could do this, and I would say something like, all right, so let me know when you reset it. And so he would be like, okay.
Okay, I've reset.
I'd be like, all right, thank you so much, sir. I see it on my window now. I think it's okay. Thank you very much for your time. Boom. Hang up the phone. Call my homeboy because it was a rotary phone. All right. He reset the host account. Send the email or whatever.
We're in.
So he would do this thing where he copy the HTML of some customer service webpage, and then he would send this out being like, oh, your credit card information has been changed or declined, and he would send it to this host account which had like 1 million names, right, or 1 million email addresses, and he would just send this email, right? So we'd wait a couple days, and over time he would have this IP tracker, and so people who would send their credit card information, it'd be logged into a notepad file. And so we would get the entire block of people who, we get like 125, 300 different
scamming
names.
Indian credit card?
No, not people in India. Anybody on AOL. This was
anybody.
The free trial thing.
You were just like on credit card. You were just scamming credit cards.
Credit cards.
People who would fall for
and
this thing.
And we would take everybody's credit card information and buy porn.
Nice. Good for you. That was probably the best thing you could have done.
We got porn subscriptions to every major website.
Nice.
And
money well spent.
$40.
You kept the porn industry afloat in those early crucial days.
Crucial years.
Crucial.
Totally supported every porn
good for
site.
you, man. Well, you're a hero, and I think that's what I'm getting out of all of this is that sure, those Indian people felt. You know what? It serves them right, I think, for falling for somebody speaking English with authority. You know what I'm saying? Because look what happened the last time they did that, right? Didn't turn out so well.
Everybody got shot. Yeah.
So treat them a lesson. Treat them a lesson. That's what I say. All right, Brinan, we should wrap it up. You guys are going. Where can the people find you? What you said the Clown House.
So many things. All right, first of all, follow me on Instagram at Brinan Weeks, BRINANWEEKS. Again, that's BRINANWEEKS. I host the Clown House on Fridays at 8 o'clock. I host Pop Rosie's open mic on Mondays in Culver City at 8 o'clock. You can see me at the Comedy Store once a month on Sundays for the Clown Show. You can also catch me at the Improv soon at the Other Show. I also host another show the last Tuesday of every month at First Draft Tap Room in downtown LA, and also coming up 2 shows, one in October called Fire, Friends, and Funnies, which we're going to do beer, burgers, and s'mores. Okay. That's coming up, and that's going to be in West Adams. And then I also have a show called, on November 7th called Unsolicited, the Roasting of Dick Pics, co-hosted by Nikki Fuchs and Emily Fick.
All right.
And that's going to be at Junior High.
Very nice. Do you have a website, or do you have a place where they can check all that stuff out, look at your dates or any of your other stuff?
Yep, BrinanWeeks.com.
Boom, BrinanWeeks.com.
Thank you so much.
Brinan Weeks on all the socials. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And, you know where to find me, Rojan Kim, online, on the socials, and all that stuff. But anyways, thanks so much, Brinan. It was great talking to you, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.